All right, everyone. Okay. Gonna change this here. And I'm just going to pin. Perfect. And then we're gonna jump in. So today's meeting will be shorter than yesterday. We will probably be done a few minutes past the hour, but I really try to time it that we're going to be not as long as yesterday, and we also have less stuff to cover. But so ground rules are the same, right? Everything's happening in the chat. Please stay muted until the Q&A right at the end of this meeting. And this is going to be really cool. Like what we're going to talk about today are things that very few people talk about. It is much, much, much deeper. And I think you're going to learn a lot and have a really brilliant experience. So here is our agenda. Similarly to yesterday, we are going to start with a little bit of theory. We're going to go even deeper into the subconscious, but looking at a couple of different qualities so that you really understand your subconscious mind and, as a consequence, yourself really well when you come out of this meeting. We're going to look at specific programs that are holding you back beyond this lifetime. So we're going to be looking at ancestry and past lives. We're going to look at what is possible when these get cleared. You're going to get a sneak peek into my new program, CEO Frequency. So I'm going to tell you today a little bit more about that for those of you who may be interested in joining. And then we will go into a theta brainwave and we are going to do a visualization like yesterday. And we're going to clear all of those ancestral and past life beliefs that you're going to discover today. And at the end, there will be time for a Q&A and to complete any clearings that may not be totally completed or go a little bit deeper. So let's recap what we did yesterday. So we talked about the fact how quantum field interacts with your subconscious mind and how mastering your subconscious mind can help you put your manifestations on super speed because you're creating energy to matter and not matter to matter, which means you're working on the quantum level, not at the level of Newtonian physics. We also looked at how this is relevant to us as entrepreneurs, how there are so many different areas in entrepreneurship where these subconscious blocks, subconscious beliefs hold us hostage when it comes to growing, scaling our business, our income, and doing so in alignment. We also did a clearing on childhood programs holding us back. And today we're going to look at our ancestry and how our ancestors and past life experiences truly shape our reality. And this is huge. You're going to see by the end of the day how massive this is. So, what I want to ground you into before we move on is that your subconscious mind has one role and one role only. And this is to keep you alive. Your subconscious mind doesn't care if you create the life of your dreams and if you're in alignment with your soul. Your subconscious mind wants to keep you alive. It's directly connected to your nervous system, your endocrine system. So I want you to understand at this point that every subconscious belief that either you hold or your ancestors have held has served you. There is ultimately nothing like self-sabotage. It's only protection. But your subconscious is incredibly good at finding different mechanisms for you to stay in your comfort zone because this is what your subconscious mind believes will keep you alive. And here is the issue. This is what we're really working with. Your subconscious mind can only learn from the past. And the way your brain works, this is something you learn when you study neuroscience, is that your brain is basically constantly predicting what's going to happen next. Your subconscious mind, it's constantly predicting what's happening in the next moment so that it can prepare you to respond in a way that maximizes your likelihood of survival. But if you can only predict things based on the past, you can never create anything new in your life unless you're really aware of that and unless you change your subconscious mind. Okay? So this is really freaking important. And all of these past experiences that are dictating how we respond in every moment, they go beyond just this lifetime. They go to the level of the ancestry, getting imprinted at the level of your DNA, and they get imprinted also into your auric energy field. So you carry the imprints from your past lives and from your ancestors there. And here's the thing, right? We actually know that. Like we know that in science today, the field of epigenetics has shown that our ancestors' experiences shape our DNA. We know how war, how famine changes our DNA, how it changes the modification of it, the physical structure. And, by the time we show what's happening on the physical level, right? Because you remember energy creates matter, you got to know that what's happening on the energetic level is a whole lot more than that, right? And in the methodology that I study and I use, we understand that these beliefs get encoded on the energetic field around the DNA. And then they shape our present and our future. Okay, so let's look at some definitions so we can work with this really, really well today. We're going to be looking at two levels today: ancestral level beliefs and programs and history level. So yesterday we looked mostly at what is called core level beliefs, which is your childhood, right? And ancestral level is anything that is experienced and encoded at the level of your DNA, also the energetic level, over the past 7 generations. So it goes 7 generations back, what your ancestors experienced. And then history level, this is ancestral beliefs that are older than 7 generations. So you can absolutely carry those, also past lives and collective subconscious. So any stories, mythology that we carry at this collective subconscious level, this collective energy field that we create as a humanity, are actually imprinted here and can get picked up. So there are beliefs that you carry in your field on the history level that may not actually have, you may have never experienced that either yourself or your ancestors, but you may have picked them up. So this is why it's very cool, because in this methodology, we use muscle testing, right, to show which beliefs we have. And then we can actually find beliefs that come even from like this level of like, consciousness, let's call it that. So why does this matter to us? Why does this actually matter? Okay. Because here's the thing, right? Most of us who are here today are some of the most privileged people on this planet. And I want to acknowledge that because it's true. If we have time to sit down and listen to a class on reprogramming your subconscious for wealth, congratulations, you have a really good life, right? And we want to acknowledge that. And so it can sometimes seem when we look at our lives and our childhood, right? If we only take this approach that what happened to us in our childhood dictates our life, which a lot of people do, even though it's not complete, right? We can be like, well, we actually, we didn't have these difficult experiences. Maybe we didn't really experience massive oppression. We never went through war or famine or these really big scarcity things, right? But that when we understand how our ancestral lines affect that, how our past lives affect that, we start seeing a very different image. So what I want to ask you right now is that while your life may have been privileged, I want you to just check what happens if you go maximum 3 generations back. And think about what your ancestors went through only 3 generations back. And the truth is that for the vast majority of people on this planet, if you go 3 generations back, there's war, there's famine and poverty, there's displacement, the entirety of the European continent, 2 world wars within the 7 generations back. A lot of our ancestors were displaced, immigrated, or didn't have actually enough food to properly feed their children. I know my grandparents on both sides, if you go 2 generations back, were very poor, scavenging for food in the dumpsters as kids, being removed by the Communist Party from their families, right? So that's the reality. That's the reality for the vast majority of people on this planet. And this matters. These are very salient experiences that get encoded. So the truth is that the history of humanity is the history of hardship, of struggle, and of oppression. And I'm not trying to sound dramatic here. This is the truth of what current level of consciousness creates, right? I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's like, drama. That is simply the factual reality of what has been happening for the known history of humanity. So let's look at some actual examples so we can ground that into reality. Now, first things first, right? This work is very individual, which is very important. So you will always have to look at your own family, where you're coming from, the lineage, race, culture, and you will have to apply it to yourself. But let's look at some examples. If you're a member of a marginalized community, racial or otherwise discriminated against, you may not even have to go back, but even if it's happening to you, you also carry your ancestors' pain. And that is the truth, that these kind of treatment, like being subhuman, which a lot of people have been treated like that throughout history, gets encoded deeply into the DNA, gets encoded deeply into your experience of how you see yourself, how you see what is possible for you in this lifetime. And you will have to break out of these chains to create a different life. Now, if you're a woman, then we have to have a conversation, and we especially have to have a conversation around money, because many of you may know, right? It took a while before women got, let's say, voting rights. In France, it took until the 40s. But did you know that in places like the US and the UK, women were not allowed to have their own bank account until the 70s? And do you understand that that effectively made women a property? They weren't able to make their own decisions. They didn't have their own resources. And the truth is, throughout the history, most people have been property. Anyone who hasn't been a relatively privileged white man has been a property. So let's talk about what kind of identity that may create on the level of your DNA and your ancestrally. Now, I also wonder, this is just like my little thing, that, we talk a lot about the wage gap, pay gap. Yes, patriarchy, but also how many women carry on the level of their DNA, on the level of their ancestral experiences, that they're not actually allowed to make more money than men. That's a belief, and we're going to look at it in a bit. Now, religion, we cannot skip over that, because many types of religion in many different shapes and form have taught that in order to be virtuous, in order to be close to God, you have to be poor. You're not allowed to have money. And if you're a spiritual person here, for most of the spiritual people, it's very important to be able to be close to God. So do you have an oath that you actually have to be poor in order to achieve that? And finally, we cannot forget the reality of torture, prosecution, and execution of healers, especially women, during the Dark Ages. And we've all heard about witches being burnt at the stake, but in some of the villages during the times of the empire, it got to the point where only 1 or 2 women were left. And we're talking about witches being burned. Any woman who healed qualified for prosecution. Doesn't matter if the healing was successful, doesn't matter if she actually helped someone. Any level of power that women held was prosecuted. And we need to own that also as people of the West, because today we have a lot of narratives of how white people oppress everyone. And while, I'm not going to argue whether or not that's accurate, there's a lot to it. We need to acknowledge that this comes on the already wave of millennia of oppression, that the empire, before the empire colonized the Americas, before it enslaved the Black people, it first wiped out the indigenous populations in Europe. We carry these experiences imprinted in our auric fields and on our DNA. Okay? So this is our collective history. This is what we work with, and this is what we're clearing. And it's going to be through clearing and integrating this that we can collectively also move to a very different level. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to do the same thing as yesterday. We're going to look at some of the beliefs, and you're going to write down the ones that resonate with you. We're going to, again, use the intuition for that, right? We're not going to be muscle testing, but I want you to look at any of the beliefs that trigger you, any that invoke a sensation within you, any that some of them may feel like a gut punch, and some of them you may simply feel like, I know I have this. So we're going to look at a couple of different categories. Okay, let's start. These are some loyalty programs. So the first one I want you to look at is just a program which is really saying, I'm poor. And this is a deeply seated identity of poverty. So if you look at your ancestral lines and you know that the vast majority of people in your lineages have lived in scarcity, in poverty, it's very likely you carry that on some level. And if you look at that and see that, it's a good one to clear. I'm poor and proud of it. We talked about it yesterday, right? In a lot of communities, this belief is developed as a protective mechanism. Because, well, yeah, okay, your life is miserable and you're poor, but at least that makes you a good person. At least you're proud to be that way rather than those bad rich people. And some people will recreate the experience of poverty to keep belonging to their community, where that is the collective, the consciousness of the community that is held there. I must stay poor to honor my lineage. Similar program, right? Do you no longer belong into the lineage of your people if you actually make money? Were they all always poor and proud of it? And I'm not allowed to make more money than my family. This is another like old kind of loyalty program to your lineage that like you can't break these patterns. You have to. It's very this tribal way of being. So if any of these come up, write them down into your journal on a piece of paper so that we have them there for clearing. Let's look at the next one. Money making conditions. I must trade time for money. Do you come from a lineage of tradesmen where people had to trade time for money, where they were only paid depending on the amount of time that they worked? This is actually a very common belief. Most people still work for time today, right? A lot of places you have to like check in with your card and you have to be there for a certain number of hours. You're not paid for the value you provide. You're not paid for the quality of the work you deliver. It's time. And obviously, as entrepreneurs, we gotta get rid of that one because in today's day and age, you can make lots of money in many ways that don't involve you trading time for that. I must sacrifice my joy to make money, or I can only make money if I suffer. So I think I'm thinking here of patterns such as if I look back at my lineage, right? If we go 3 generations back, in order for the family to have money, my great grandma's husband traveled overseas to make money and then send it back. Didn't go very well. He gambled all of it, but that was the idea, right? And so there was this idea that in order for you to actually have money, you have to sacrifice something. Is this present somewhere in your life that you don't believe you can actually have money and have joy, happiness, ease in your life, that there has to be sacrifice? If that is the case, definitely write this down. Let us look at religious programs. These are big. I think at this point, I'm yet to meet a spiritual entrepreneur that I've worked with and muscle tested that doesn't have one or more of these, right? Because the truth is, a lot of people who are spiritual and healers in this lifetime have had many lifetimes before where they were parts of religion. And so these are very common. So I have an oath to poverty. If you in your past life or your ancestors were part of a religious group, maybe you were a monk, a nun, a part of something like that, you took an oath to poverty. You had to commit yourself to staying poor. Then there are beliefs around conditions on you receiving God's love or simply not getting punished, which is really more accurate for most of these group things. I must be poor to please God. I must suffer to be virtuous. And I must suffer to please God. And of course, suffering oftentimes coincides with poverty. So do any of these beliefs resonate with you? Or can you look back at your lineage and do you come from a lineage of people who were very religious? If that is the case, write those down. God is punishing me for mistakes in the past. So a lot of people have beliefs that if they're good people, God will reward them and then they will get money or something like that. And that if this is an identity basically of a mistake, like you don't deserve money, God is punishing you and you deserve punishment. There are a lot of people who carry belief that they deserve punishment, by the way. Very nasty, very heavy. And to be wealthy, I must sell my soul to the devil. So this one goes again a little bit together with like rich people are bad, but basically it's like I cannot make money ethically. Like if I made money, it means that I'm a sellout. I sold my soul to the devil. Now, we're going to look at healer programs because we can talk about spiritual entrepreneurship without looking at these. And these are humongous, okay? If you carry these, they're going to block your business like few other things. I will be killed or prosecuted for being a healer. If you have any form of healing service, but even if it's not like, physical healing, but you're helping people, you're guiding people, you're raising consciousness, and you hold this belief, this is going to stop you. I am not allowed to charge money for my services. There are certain shamanic traditions and other healing lineages where people were not allowed to take money in exchange for doing a healing. They could take food, they could take other gifts, but not money. Do you find yourself having a really hard time charging money for your services? It could be because of that. Saviorship programs. I must save the world, and I must save people, or I must save humanity. Do you carry this big weight on your shoulders that you are responsible for saving the world? A lot of healers do. They may feel like they're constantly running out of time, etc. And you want to clear this. You can still go on and be a great healer. You can help people. You do not have to carry an obligation, because this is an energetic obligation, that you're a savior. I feel guilty when people compensate me for my time. Another healer's program is hard to charge, like, ooh, this feels sticky. And if I earn money, I'm taking from others. That is an outdated belief that used to be not so outdated, right? Because back in the day, money was tied to gold and silver. And today it's not, right? So money is, technically speaking, unlimited. Now, we're not going to talk about the consequences of that. But the truth is, you're not taking from anyone, right? It's not like one piece of, like, it's not one pie and everybody gets a piece and there's nothing more than that. So this is also a belief that we want to clear. Okay, we're gonna look at the last one, oppression programs. Okay, so these can be quite heavy, but very, very beautiful to clear. People who look like me don't make money, especially for people of color. If your ancestors were slaves, if they were oppressed, they carried a belief that maybe back then was actually true, that they couldn't do it, that it wasn't possible for them. I'm not allowed to make more money than my partner. As a woman, we talked about it. Women weren't allowed to make more than men for a very long time. And to this day, there are a lot of female entrepreneurs that actually feel really uncomfortable with the idea of making more money than their male partner. That needs to go. Women aren't allowed to make money. Women must be humble and submissive, right? This is another one of these programs that basically says, keep yourself small. Don't be too loud. Don't be too loud. Don't speak your truth, right? This is very connected to authenticity. Now there are some heavier, more direct ones. I am a servant. So if you find yourself always taking care of everyone else before you take care of yourself. So in business, you always pay your team. You're always more concerned about your clients. You probably have shitty boundaries. And you take care of your pets before you ever take care of yourself. You probably carry on some level of belief that you're a servant and you got to serve everyone else before you can actually take care of yourself. I'm a slave. I've seen people with that program, not a vibe, but if you have an ancestry of that, or if this just resonates on some level when you feel like maybe a slave to your business, maybe you feel like your business is running you rather than the other way around. It can come up in this forum that you actually become enslaved to your business. So if that resonates, write it down because we're going to clear that. I'm not allowed to be an individual. Again, a lot of humanity in the past, through oppression, they weren't actually allowed to be an individual who stepped up, voiced their desires, said what they wanted to say, claim money, claim wealth. If it feels on some level like you're not actually allowed to truly be yourself, or you're keeping yourself small consistently, that could be the reason. And then the last two, very common, I am less than, and I am less than in business. Again, this can be childhood, right? Of course, if you were constantly kind of told like you weren't good enough. But oftentimes also, if your ancestors weren't seen as equals, weren't seen as worthy humans, were seen as less than, these programs can be there. So do you oftentimes feel in your business that you're comparing yourself and you're constantly checking with yourself, like, am I actually doing this well enough? Should I do it like someone else? Or even having thoughts like, I will never be able to do it like this other person. Like, I will never be able to have these things. Then it's very good to clear that. Let me check the chat. I'm not allowed to charge money for my services is what kept me from charging for my services for over 15 years now. That's right. 15 years I've offered all my healing services for free. Yes. My goodness. Let's clear that today. Huh? Let's get rid of that. so you can actually do that. Category 4 is big for me. Also must trade time for money and must sacrifice to make money. Yes. These are very, 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 very common. Put them down on the piece of paper. We're going to look at where they're coming from and we're going to clear them. What about the rest of you? Which categories? Category 5, oppression programs. Yes, beautiful. Let's clear those. 2, 4, and 5. 5. Yeah. 4 and 5. Yeah. A little bit of 4, a little bit of 5. Beautiful. Do you see how many of us carry oppression programs? Isn't that crazy? Wonderful. All right. Good stuff, guys. Write them down. I won't show this slide again, so I'm gonna give you like a few more seconds if there's any more programs that you want to write on a piece of paper, and then we're gonna move on. All right. So here's one thing that before we do the clearing, I want to acknowledge. And this is that I hope that at this point you can see how deep this goes. And if you've done a lot of work around this before and you haven't seen the results, I want to say it's probably not your fault. Okay. And I'm not saying this from the perspective like you're doing everything perfectly. Like we all know if we're doing everything we could be. But the truth is that I had years of experience where I did, all of the money mindset work, all of the strategy work, learned human design, learned astrology. I worked with Dr. Joe Dispenza students. I paid a lot of money for some very expensive coaches, and nothing could get me the breakthrough in my business. I was spinning my wheels. I had so much confusion. I felt so freaking scared of actually running a business. Okay. And I will never forget when I did the healing on the programs we're talking about today, because I had this incredible fear of actually doing things wrong in business, not being able to deliver, and people turning on me and literally burning everything to the ground. And then I went and I muscle tested some beliefs. I will be prosecuted for being a healer. Yes. I am a fraud. Yes. I will be killed for failing others. Yes. I will be killed for making a mistake. Yes. And I was like, oh God. And I went into theta brainwave, and what I could see there was that in a past life, I was a healer. And I was asked by an important person, like some sort of a royalty, right, to create like some healing preparations for them. And, even though I did everything to the best of my ability, it didn't work. And that person came back and threatened me to take away my children. They threatened to completely ruin my life. And I remember like the visceral reaction of just like this complete terror, right? Because there was nothing I could do. And in that moment, in this visualization, I could see that in that moment, I made a promise to myself that I would never ever heal on a large scale, that I'm never going to put myself out there, and that if I'm ever going to do any sort of healing, it's going to be this little thing underground. I kept myself small because that was the only way that I would actually stay together with my children and my family. And it was after I cleared those things that things started shifting so quickly for me in my business. And I want to show you what is possible when we change these things, when this is really standing between us and what we desire. In a couple of months after that, I grew my subscribers list. Basically, I doubled it. I over doubled it, and it keeps growing. I welcomed over 100 people into my courses. Mind it, before I didn't have an online course. I had no clients, okay? I started attracting people, clients that were just next level. Of course, because they were so aligned, they had incredible results. And what happened because of that was that they kept recommending me to literally everyone, giving my name, my business, my session recommendations to their friends, to their coaches. I started getting Telegram messages from people being like, hey, can I book a session with you? I started having people paying in full for my 3-month packages without objections. That is what happened after actually clearing these deep past level beliefs. And because this is this soul level deep work, right? It's like these ultimate blocks that stand between us and our desires that so desperately want to come to us because they're meant for us. And as I showed you yesterday, right, these are some of the breakthroughs my clients have seen in one single session, landing massive visibility opportunities after spinning their wheels for years and releasing a lifelong pattern and started signing highest paying dream clients after one session. So before we go into the clearing today, and we're going to do a beautiful clearing, I want to tell you how you can go deeper with me if you desire to really take this work to the next level and to truly clear your subconscious of any blocks that are standing between you and what you desire for your business, the income, impact, visibility, all of those things. So this is why I created CEO Frequency. And the CEO Frequency is a 3-month program. So it's 12 weeks. And it's designed specifically for spiritual entrepreneurs who are ready to take their visibility, income, and impact to the next level, and who are ready to align their subconscious mind to call in empowered, aligned clients who are ready to pay you, and who are not just going to pay you, but who will want to stay in your world and rave about your work. And so this is for any stage of entrepreneurship. So if you're an earlier stage entrepreneur, and I'm not just talking about time, right? But like where you are income wise and like, are you growing? Are you scaling, right? This is going to save you years of trial and error. Trust me, I've done those years, and become seen and paid on a high level fast, because you're not going to be spinning your wheels and guessing what's holding you back, right? As I said, the process I use, we test beliefs. We prove, and we prove if they cleared. So you know there and then if you actually have a belief holding you back. And if you're one of my more established entrepreneurs, this is your chance for a breakthrough. This is your chance to bring life force back into your business. This is for those of you who may be making money right now, even the numbers you want to be making, but you know you don't want to continue that way. You're ready to make money from the place of alignment. You're ready to quantum leap into your next level vision. And you're done squeezing yourself into molds that other people created, squeezing your genius into frameworks that only drain your energy and make you feel even worse at the end of the day, make you not even be able to enjoy the business that you created in the first place for freedom, for alignment, for income. And we are going to shift that once and for all. Why? Because this is the work that is designed to align you to your truth and to give you the courage to do things your way, the way you're meant to do them, and the way you desire to do them. So this is what it looks like. It's 3 months. We do together 12 live subconscious reprogrammings. So we meet every week and we do a live reprogramming. And at the end, there's time for one-on-one time in the small group setting where we clear things on a deeper level. On top of that, we have 6 hot seat coaching sessions. So bi-weekly Q&As where we go deep into aligning you with the highest version of yourself and giving you any extra practices you need to truly start aligning with the vision and the version of yourself that you're stepping into. It's going to be a small group, and you also get a lifetime access to a healing library with all of the resources. So what that means in practice is every single subconscious reprogramming meditation that we do, you get a meditation that stays with you for the rest of your life, which means you can keep doing the healings over and over and over and over again. And because, as you probably know, healing happens in layers, you may be 5-10 years after we're done and you're pushing a new edge and you're like, shit, this belief's coming up, let me go clear it. And I know I do this regularly. I keep reusing these things on a sometimes daily, sometimes weekly basis. So this is basically what is inside. And what I want to tell you is that because you're here, you get some really juicy bonuses. So bonus number 1 is that you get €300 off the founder's price. So the full price for this program will eventually be over €5,000 because the value is through the roof. And the founder's price is a lot cheaper, $17.97. But because you're here, you get €300 off, which means that at the end of the day, you can join for 4 payments of $377. And because you're joining early, you get an extended payment plan of 4 payments instead of 3. So that's 70% off. Now, bonus number 2 is that if you join now, you get instant access to Aura Detox. And Aura Detox is my highest level passive course, which is basically contains practices that are absolutely necessary for you to take things to the next level. I give this work to every single one of my one-on-one clients. They normally keep doing it throughout our time together. And this alone will 10x your manifestation abilities before we even begin. And you get instant access to that. So if you want to start doing the work today, in the time that you're waiting to start a course, you're gonna get yourself really far with these practices already. And bonus 3 is that if you join today or in the next week, you get a bonus 30-minute one-on-one session with me, which means we jump on a call and we talk exactly what it is that you need right now. And then I will tell you exactly how to combine that with the work you will get in Aura Detox, so you can start making progress if you so desire with the same day. So these are the details that you need to know. We will start in late January, so there's time, right? It's not starting next week. And to apply, you will book a call with me. So here is the thing, right? This time around, I'm only accepting people by first having a call. And this is basically 2 reasons. The first reason is I want to make sure we're a really good fit. The program's a brilliant fit. We're an amazing fit, because I have no desire to have anyone in the course that isn't a great fit, because that's not good for any of us. I'm really committed to keeping the space really high vibe, really aligned, really transformational. And so I want to make sure this is a good fit for both parties. And the second part is I want to get to know you. I want to get to know your business. So if we end up working together, I know who you are, I know what you work on, and I can support you from the get-go in the most effective, highest level way. And after you book a call, you will receive a PDF with all the details. So the entirety of the curriculum, you will learn everything about my methodology, so you can come to the actual call and we're gonna have a really high level, really efficient conversation. So here is the only catch. These bonuses will go away Monday at midnight. So you have quite a few days, but what you need to do is book your call before Monday at midnight if you're interested in this. And if you book a call before midnight Monday, and then decide to join the course, you get all of these bonuses, 300 euro off, access to the course, 30-minute session with me. Okay? So that is everything about that. And if you have any questions in the chat right now, I'm going to give it just a few seconds. And then we're going to go into our reprogramming. So let me know if you have any questions right now about the program or anything else we talked about today. Midnight, which time zone? It's going to be Central European time. So earlier, so if you're in Boston, 6 hours, so 6 p.m. your time. I'm going to also send out an email right after this, and I'm going to give you all the info there, okay? So you don't have to worry about remembering everything, but it's going to be my time zone. All right. So we are going to go right into our visualization now. So just to remind you what it's going to look like, I'm going to take you into Theta Brainwave. We will find the origin of the beliefs. So right now you're going to pick a belief or if there's like a number of them that are kind of along the same lines, pick all of those. And we're going to find where they are coming from. We're going to find the origin, right? So that we can really find what did you learn about yourself or what did your ancestors learn? We will find any additional beliefs there that may need to be cleared. We'll do the reprogramming. So I'll tell you the command. You just have to follow my voice. And then you have to witness the shift. Remember, all you have to do is witness that the change actually occurred. Seeing the beliefs getting lifted off of you, seeing the new beliefs coming in. And I will tell you all of this. We will also remove any obligations that you need to keep this belief to keep the positive quality. So remember, because your subconscious is always protecting you, every belief that you hold is teaching you something. If you're holding on to these things, there is a motivation there. Maybe there is a virtue there. You're learning something, and we're going to make sure that you no longer need this negative life experience. For example, not being able to charge, let's say you're not charging money for your services in order to truly serve people, in order to support others, or maybe in order to be liked by people, right? We're going to remove the obligation so you don't need this negative life experience to keep the positives. And I'll give you some downloads, just like yesterday. to really embody the new frequencies. So we're going to go and visualize. So everybody, go and get comfortable now. I'm going to stop the screen share and I'm going to put on some vibey music for us. And feel free to switch off your camera if you want for this part. Whatever is going to make you feel the most comfortable. All right, beautiful. Beautiful. My music doesn't want to work. Give me 1 second, you guys. Okay. For whatever reason, my computer has decided not to do this right now, so we're not gonna overcomplicate it and we're gonna do it without music, which is totally fine. So all you need to do then is lean back and relax. Close your eyes and get comfortable. And take a deep breath in into the center of your chest. Exhale. And one more time. And now I want you to see how the energy is collecting around your feet, forming these two pools of light, and see what color they are. And now see how this energy begins to drip down through the layers and layers of soil towards the center of the earth. And see how this energy plugs into the core of the earth. And as you inhale, Mother Earth inhales with you. And as you exhale together. And one more time. Inhale together. And exhale together. And now I want you to see how you bring the energy up from the core of the earth, and you're only bringing good energy with you. And bring it up through the layers and layers of soil, up through the foundation of the building you're in, up through the floorboards, and up until it touches your feet. And then this energy first spills all around your toes. Feel it circling there. And then it begins to move up to your ankles and your calves, your knees, your thighs, all the way until it reaches your seat. And it begins to activate your root chakra. And see how this center begins to glow in a deep red color, expanding, balancing. Take a deep inhale. As the energy moves up into your sacrum, activating your sacral chakra. Allow this center to soften. Allow your body to soften. Your belly, your sex organs. Deep inhale as the energy moves into your solar plexus. Expanding this area. Breathe in as this energy expands your heart. And feel how this area of your chest softens and how your heart begins to smile, softening. And let this energy spill down your arms, all the way to your fingertips. Breathe in as the energy moves into your throat, activating this area. And breathe in as this energy enters your third eye. Allowing you to see what is beyond. And removing any veils, any cobwebs that were put there. Just letting go. See them lift. Inhale in as this energy reaches your crown. And feel how this area begins to tingle. And with the next inhale, this energy moves up above your head, forming a ball of white light. And a little bit of your consciousness slips into this ball of light. And now, you begin to travel up. Up, above the building that you're in. Up, above the trees and the clouds, moving up through the layers and layers of atmosphere. Feel the cold air on your nose and your cheeks. And you keep going up and up, moving past the stars, past the galaxies, known and the unknown, moving higher and higher, shooting into the unknown. And you keep going up and up, past the edge of the universe. You go through bright lights and dark lights, bright and dark, past the shades of pink, shades of blue, up and up until you reach a golden yellow light. This is the fifth plane consciousness, where ascended masters, spirit guides live. And I want you to feel this energy of love, peace, serenity, and compassion wash all over your body right now. As you keep moving up and up, and you keep going up until you reach a jello-like substance. It's a thicker substance. And you push into this substance. You push in your consciousness. And as you push, In your consciousness, your body relaxes fully. And with the next inhale, you push through to the other side. And you say in your mind, I am one with all there is. And you see above you, open, a portal, a sparkling white light. And I want you to go through it. And I want you to go deeper and deeper into this white pearlescent light. Allow this light to wash all over you. This is creator consciousness, source energy, the quantum field of all possibilities. This is where we come to create our reality from the highest truth and to find the answers from the highest truth. So keep going deeper and deeper and deeper. And even as you become one with this light, you still keep going deeper. And here we ask Creator to guide this exploration, this healing, this journey, to show us everything we are ready to see and ready to clear. And we will give thanks for all that we are and all that we will become. Now, I want you to bring into your awareness the belief that you're working with today. The pattern, the thing you're ready to clear. And when you have this belief, I want you to push up into this white light. Really push up. Really push up in your consciousness. And ask, send a thought to the light. Creator, show me the origin of this belief. Where does it come from? Is it mine? Is it from my ancestors? Is it from another lifetime? And ask and receive the answer. See whose this belief truly is. And if you get the information that it is your ancestors, you can ask Creator, which line? My mother's or my father's? And if it's from another lifetime, ask, how many lifetimes have I been carrying this program? How long has this been in my field? And trust the answer. Trust the intuitive knowing. Now, when you're ready, I want you to push up into this white light and I want you to ask Creator, what is the origin of this belief? Where is this belief coming from? Where did it begin? Show me what my ancestors went through, or what I went through in another lifetime, or perhaps this one, where I learned this belief. And allow yourself to be taken back to the origin. Allow your subconscious mind to reveal to you what happened. Trust the intuitive knowing. You may see it, feel it, hear it, sense it. Trust whatever is unfolding. Now, push up into this white light and send the thought to the light. Creator, what did I learn from this experience? Or what did my ancestors learn from this experience? What did they learn about themselves, about life, about what it was possible for them to achieve, about money, wealth, other people? What are the beliefs that I accepted about myself and my ability to create the life that I desire? Show me now. Thank you. It is done, it is done, it is done, and so it is. And witness what is shown to you. We're looking for these core beliefs you accepted about yourself or about life. Now, we're going to clear them. So take all of these beliefs that you're ready to let go, and especially these core ones that you found in the digging, and push up into this white light. Push up, really push up, go deeper and deeper. And say this in your mind: Creator of all that is, it is requested that these beliefs be resolved on the history level, cleared and cancelled on all other levels, sent to Creator's light, and replaced with the highest and best beliefs for me right now. Thank you, Creator. It is done, it is done, it is done, and so it is. And witness the beliefs being cleared and removed, coming off of your field. And see new beliefs coming in. And you can ask, Creator, which beliefs are replacing the old ones? What are the new beliefs, new frequencies that I want to embody in order to move towards my desires? Now, for those of you who have had obligations to poverty, or any beliefs that had the word must in them, we're going to clear that, okay? So push up into this white light and say, Creator, it is commanded that this oath or obligation, state the oath, it is commanded that this obligation be completed in this lifetime and lifted from my field. Thank you, Creator. It is done, it is done, it is done, and so it is. And witness this obligation being complete, being lifted off of your field. We don't replace them with anything. We simply complete them in this lifetime. Now, finally, we're going to look at what your ancestors or you got out of holding on to this belief. Because there's a lesson in there. Maybe it was motivating you. Maybe you were learning a virtue, service, compassion, generosity. So I want you to push up into this white light. Really push up. And send a thought to the light. Creator, show me what I got out of this. Show me what I am getting from holding on to this belief, holding on to this obligation. Do I get safety, belonging? Do I get to stay small and safe? Do I get to be liked by people, seen as a good person? How is this belief motivating me? And we're always looking for the positives. Even if it's something negative that comes up at first, always ask, but how is this teaching me something positive? Our subconscious holds on to the lessons until we are ready to learn the lesson without the negative experience. When you have it, push up into this white light and make a command. Creator, it is commanded to complete and release the obligation for me to need this negative experience, hardship, struggle, poverty, in order to have this positive motivation or virtue. Thank you, Creator. It is done, it is done, it is done, and so it is. And witness this obligation being complete. And see the positive soul lesson growing in you, becoming light. giving you the download from Creator's plane, that you know how to move forward in this new energy, that you know how to move forward with these positive lessons and how to move forward without these negative ones, that you know what it feels like to do so, and you already know how to live your daily life with this. Would you like these downloads? All you have to do is say yes in your mind. All right. Push up into this white light. Really push up. And allow it to rinse you off like a sparkling white shower. Releasing any hooks, cords, attachments to things that no longer serve you. Allow this energy to ground you. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. All right. We're 8 minutes past the hour. So whoever wants to jump off now, feel free to do so, and thank you for being here. And I'm gonna stay on for another 20 minutes, maybe half an hour, depending on how many questions there are. And I would love to hear some of your experiences, if you would like to share. And then we can do some additional healing, if this is appropriate. So whoever would like to share, feel free to unmute yourself and take the mic. And if you have any other questions with regards to the program, with regards to what we talked about today as well, you can also ask those questions now. So space is really open for you to, ask anything you would like to.
I'll share a little bit. I feel bad because I was the first person to talk yesterday.
Give me 1 second. Callie, I cannot hear you. Wait, give me a second. Now, can you say something?
Yay. Can you hear me?
Perfect. I can hear you.
Oh, I'm echoing again too.
Wait.
Okay. So it felt like what I was trying to focus on as like one of the bigger, heavier ones that seemed to presence itself was at first having to do with money and like being like secondary, because it felt like I'm the secondary income. I'm like the supplemental person, and like that's been present for a while. So I was like, oh, that feels really like heavy in my space. But it also, like, as we were walking through like the generational, like looking back to where this started, it felt like 5, 6, 7 generations deep. And it was like all tied up with everything. Like it was about like, well, I have to be the secondary person because I can't be primary because that's how the world is. And it was very much like connection to community, like the idea of I have to stay small, like it's dangerous, like all of it seems very interconnected. Like I couldn't tease out it just being one of the things. It like was all like entangled together. So it felt very much like challenge any of those things, like step out of line in any of those spaces. whether it be making money, having an impact, having a voice, being visible, like stepping out from the crowd, any of that felt very dangerous. Like not physically dangerous, but more like socially dangerous. Like you're going to be exiled and turned away and abandoned and excommunicated. Like that was more of the energy space, it felt like to me.
Beautiful. Yeah, thanks for sharing. There are money is really charged, like the topic. And the more people I work with, like it's what you said, it forms these knots when there's like 50 different threads in them, and sometimes we need to go one thread at a time. But normally there is really like the core of there are two questions we can ask ourselves. The first question is, what am I truly scared of? Right? What am I scared would happen? And really going into this fear and digging into fear. And when you're working with fear, you always keep just asking this question of like, and if this happens, then what am I afraid? What am I afraid of? Like, what is the deeper thing, right? Because oftentimes then we'll get to the level that it can go, people oftentimes say everything ends with death. That is absolutely not freaking true. Sometimes you'll go to like the fear of dying and then you'll ask and people will be like, well, actually, I'm really scared of being forgotten. I'm really scared of being cast into the darkness, abandoned by God, right? So we can always go with what's the deepest level of fear, and then we would command that fear to release. But then the other question is always like, what does that mean about me? Right? And this is the other one where we always want to go into. So if I am feeling like less than, secondary in all those things, what does that make me? Or if I stepped out of line, what would that mean about me? We're always looking at like what it means about us. And then we're clearing those deeper layers. So do any of those resonate? Would you like to go deeper and share more about any of those?
It when you said abandoned into darkness, like that feels like the deeper fear of all of it. Like that's that left aloneness with like nothing. You're muted still.
Thank you for letting me know, trying to avoid the echo. I've had this thing, right? It's what you're saying is this feeling of like really, it's almost like being in the void, right? Is like completely alone. And that is like a really deep thing. It's like this fear of the void, fear of being completely cast aside, forgotten by Creator. It's almost like all the light is removed from where you're at. Yeah, okay. So let me see if I can give you some downloads around that. And anyone else, as I give these downloads, you can just say yes and you will receive them as well. Would you like to know what it feels like to be fully and completely accepted by God, to be fully and completely loved and embraced by God? Whew. To be deeply held by Creator, to be able to trust Creator fully and to surrender truly and fully to the love of Creator. And would you like to know what it feels like to receive Creator's love and to receive love from others? And just say yes in your mind, anyone who would like these downloads. And would you like to know what it feels like to be seen by Creator? And would you like to know how to move forward like a forgiven soul? And what I mean by that is forgiving any past mistakes, any perception of failure, any perception of inadequacy that makes us shrink and believe we're not worthy of Creator's love, of other people's love, of Creator's abundance. Would you like to know what it feels like to be truly and deeply seen by God? So move on as a forgiving person. Would you like to know what it feels like to see yourself through the eyes of Creator? To see yourself with love, with gentleness, with care, the way God sees you. And would you like to know what it feels like to live without a fear of being abandoned? Without the fear of being cast into the darkness? Like when we clear from your field and anyone else's field any false ideas of God, that God punishes, that God casts people into the darkness, that is even possible to happen. Let's clear any beliefs around that. And if you would like this to be clear, just say yes. Giving you the download, it's safe to be seen. And it's safe to be seen for who I am. All right. Beautiful. How does that feel?
It feels better. Yeah, it definitely felt. I mean, I know I can feel that there's still a lot of like work and like that's really entangled with a lot of things, but just like starting to feel into the energy of what not having that so present feels like. Like it's like now to amplify that. Like at least I've touched it. And now to bring that more into other spaces and be like, okay, I remember how that feels. That's coming up again to draw on that. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And this is really when we give you these downloads, what we're giving you is the feelings, right? Because we all know, right? Like thoughts create an electric charge, feelings create a magnetic charge. This creates the electromagnetic field. So when you have them in your field, you can then practice them. And this is a big difference between the methodology I use and others, because I've worked with methods that will tell you just feel the feelings of joy, feel the feelings of love. And the truth is, there are some people on this planet who have never felt this. You know, if you have genetic predispositions to depression, if you grew up in an abusive environment, you may have never felt joy. And then we give you these feelings so that your system remembers. And it's like, oh yeah, like I know what God's love feels like. I know what joy feels like. And then you can start practicing them. And as you do this, you're attuning your system to this new frequency, which then collapses into your reality. Beautiful. Anyone else, would anyone else like to share and receive some extra work done? Yes, please. Go ahead. Feel free to unmute yourself and just, yeah, go. All right. Anyone else? Last opportunity. Any questions? Would you like to share? Space is open. And otherwise, we'll wrap it up. All right, everyone. Then we're gonna wrap this here. Thank you very much for coming here live. It's been an honor having you all here. You will be receiving the replay of this in the next probably half an hour with all the details for the CEO frequency. And then I really hope to see some of you on our calls and we can discuss if there's maybe an opportunity for us to keep working together. You're very welcome, Peter. And thank you, everybody, for being here. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in future immersions. Bye-bye, everyone.